Hey everyone, and welcome to today's C.A.R.s walkthrough video. So today's class is going to be roughly 15 minutes, and we're going to do 3 reps of C.A.R.s, which is controlled articular rotations, in every joint of the body. So this is our daily C.A.R.s practice that we do before workouts, that we do partially before each one of our kin stretch classes, depending on what area we're focused on, but this will be full body. All you're going to need is 2 sticks or a wall to balance on. So either one of those will work fine. We're gonna get right into it. So for today's class, I'm gonna be teaching everything at roughly a 60% intensity. So 60 out of 100 intensity. That will be how hard I'm pushing the irradiation. Now, if you wanna go harder or lighter, please do what feels best for you. Here we go. We're gonna start in the neck. We stand tall. We engage the core and the glutes. We're gonna bring the chin down to chest. We're gonna look straight down at the ground. Now we're gonna scrape the chin along the collarbone over to the right side. I'm gonna look over that right shoulder. I'm gonna drop the right ear behind the right shoulder, look up towards the ceiling, lift the head tall, rotate over to the left shoulder, chin comes to shoulder. I meet the shoulder and scrape along the collarbone. We're gonna do 3 in each direction. So squeezing into that right side rotation. Once we stop that rotation, drop the ear, looking high towards the ceiling, lift the head tall. Notice how my shoulders aren't rotating, it's just the neck here. Chin to shoulder and scrape along the collarbone. 1 more rep. Looking over right side of shoulder, dropping right ear, lifting head high and looking back. Chin to left shoulder and scrape along the collarbone. Good. And other direction. Chin comes down to chest. We're gonna scrape the chin along the collarbone. Once you get that stopping feeling, you can't go any further, drop the ear behind the shoulder. Lift the head tall, look back up at the ceiling. Chin comes to right shoulder and we scrape along the collarbone. That's 1. We've got 2 more. Looking over that left shoulder, lifting head tall, rotating around. This should feel smooth and refreshing in the neck. When I do my C.A.R.s, it feels like a breath of fresh air in the joints. Perfect. And that is 3. We're gonna go shoulder blades next. So the shoulder blades live on the back of the rib cage and they work in kind of this circular motion. I like to think of it as a square. So I'm gonna keep my elbows straight and I'm gonna find the seam on the side of my pants. Do your best not to let the hands rotate around the legs here. They can go up and down on the seams, but not forward and back. Okay, find the seam, then we push down with the shoulders and forward. So think like really bad posture, down and forward, keeping those elbows straight, lifting up and forward, up and back, squeeze the scapula together, feels like a big proud chest, push the scapula down, sliding the hands down the seams of the pants, and then down and forward. That's 1, we're doing 3 in each direction, up and forward, up and back, big squeeze the shoulder blades. You feel a tightness through the mid-back, pushing down and back, keeping that tightness between the shoulder blades, and then down and forward. That's 2, 1 more. Working that square. Good, and reversing. So now we're gonna go down and back. We're doing all those same things, but the other direction, down and back. Keep the shoulder blades touching, up and back, up and forward, down and forward. That's 1. We've got 2 more. Down and back, core and glutes are engaged. Up and back, up and forward, down and forward. That's 2, 1 more. Down and back, big stretch through the front of the collarbone. Up and back, squeezing between the shoulder blades. Up and forward, down and forward, and rest. Really nice. Now we're gonna go for the shoulder. So for the shoulder, we're gonna start on the right arm. I'm gonna hold the arm out in front of me. I'm gonna externally rotate, which is rotating away from midline, and I'm gonna hold my thumb out and kind of use that as a cue every once in a while. So pay attention to where the thumb's at. I'm gonna rotate the thumb away from the body, that's external, and then I'm gonna squeeze the arm up and across the body. So I'm gonna feel a tightness on the front side here. I'm gonna keep the elbow straight the entire time. I'm gonna come overhead. Once I'm overhead, I'm gonna go internal rotation. So the thumb faces from outside to inside towards midline, and then all the way forward. Notice my thumb's facing towards the camera. Then I'm gonna reach the arm back, and then continue rotating the thumb to reach behind you. Top of the hand's gonna come right by the leg. We lift up and back. Now thumb faces down, out to the side, up towards the ceiling. Continue pulling the arm overhead, thumb faces out, and we're back in that external rotation in the front side. Good, 1, we've got 2 more. Squeeze up and across, pulling into flexion, thumbs facing out. We hit the rotation, thumb rotates forward, push back, keeps rotating down, top of the hand by the leg. Good, that's 2. Notice how I'm not getting any movement through the upper body, just in the shoulder socket. We lift up and back, big rotation, overhead, down and across. Awesome. Last rep here. Squeezing with the pec. Pull, pull, pull. Thumb is facing out. Overhead. We rotate thumb to face away from the body. Push the arm back behind us as much as we can without rotating. Top of the hand by the leg. We lift up and back. Big rotation in the shoulder. Overhead, palm faces back, down and across. That is 3. Other side. Now I'm on this left arm. External rotation. So same thing. Now other side. I'm going to squeeze up and across. You're going to feel that pec tighten. You're going to pull up into flexion. You feel front of shoulder working. As we get into overhead position, I'm not arching my back. I'm keeping the ribs down, core and glutes. Then I'm going to rotate overhead, thumb to face forward, push the arm behind us. You're going to feel a tightening in the front side of the shoulder. Push the arm back behind us like you're reaching behind you, and then top of the hand by the leg. Up and back, external rotation, up and overhead, down and across. Good, that's 1. We have 2 more. Squeezing that pec, top of shoulder overhead, rotate, feel the front of shoulder grabbing, reach behind us, back of shoulder gets a little tighter, top of the hand by the leg, lifting up and back, external rotation, thumb faces out, down and across. That's 2. 1 more. Squeezing, trying to get the best range of motion you can. Elbow is straight. Good rotation in the shoulder as we push the arm back. Top of the hand by the leg. Back behind us. External rotation. Down and across. Bingo. Now we're going to do elbows next. So the elbows are a hinge joint, but they also pronate and supinate. So the top of the elbow stays put, but the bottom attachment points twist. So they like twist on top of each other. Okay? So I'm going to start palms facing the face, and we're going to use the thumbs here. So thumbs face out almost forward in a bicep curl. Okay, I'm going to hold this for 1 curl. So thumbs are out. I come all the way down, all the way back up, and then rotate the thumbs to face in towards each other as much as you can without those elbows flaring. And then go through a full rep, curling up, thumbs rotate out, squeeze. You're going to feel a tightness on the outside of the elbows here. All the way down, back up, and then thumbs to face in, down, and back up. So the whole time I'm doing these, I'm trying to rotate into as much as I can. So thumbs out, the whole curl, thumbs are driving out, 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 and then flip it in, and thumbs face in. Perfect. Now we're gonna do the wrist. I like to do these in a half kneeling position. So I'll come down on 1 knee, and I'm gonna trap the forearm. So I find I get a better control. The elbow really likes to drive the wrist movement. So this doesn't allow the elbow to work. And then I'm gonna attempt to keep my hands open. So you can do open or you can do a completely closed fist. But we're gonna go open for this class. Hold the forearm down. We're gonna pull the hand towards the face. Then we're gonna deviate towards pinky side. Then we're gonna open the palm in deviation. We're gonna deviate to thumb side, and then we're gonna pull the fingers back up. That's it. We're gonna do 3 of those. We're over to pinky side. Open palm, you're gonna feel a tightness in the top side of the wrist, squeezing over to the thumb, a pinch over here, pulling palm towards the face, that's 2, and trying not to let the hand cup. So it's gonna have a tendency to wanna cup. We wanna keep it nice and flat. I don't care how big the range is, don't let it cup. Good. Over to the other side, now to the thumb, open up, deviate towards the pinky, pull the palm towards face, that's 1, over to the thumb, open palm, deviate to pinky, and 2, we have 1 more, over to thumb, open, towards the pinky, and 3. Really nice. Switching sides, so switching legs, trapping the wrist, here it is, palm is open, pull the fingers towards the face, over to pinky side, open palm up, over to thumb side, pull the palm towards the face, that's 1, over to pinky, open palm, over to thumb, pull the palm to face, 1 more, deviate to pinky, keeping that forearm flat, opening palm, deviate to thumb, and pull the palm up. Reverse now, over to the thumb, open palm, deviate to pinky, and pull towards the face. That's 1. Over to thumb, ooh, that's hard for me. Open that palm, deviate to pinky. 2, 1 more, squeeze over to thumb, pulling with the top of the wrist, squeezing over to the other side using this inside of forearm, outside of hand, and pulling palm in. Good, that is 3. Now we're gonna go from here into tabletop for our spine, which is gonna be segmentation. So I'm on all 4s here, and this is gonna be a cat-cow, but we're gonna start it from the hips each time. So I'm gonna be on all 4s. I'm gonna start by pushing the butt back and dropping the belly button forward. So it's gonna arch the back. I like to think like Kim K, like butt out. Then I'm gonna slowly let the rib cage flare, look up towards the ceiling. This is extension. Now from here, I'm gonna start by tucking the hips and sucking the abdomen in, pushing belly button up. That's gonna round just the lower back and it's gonna slowly move up the spine. And the last thing to go is the head. That's one. We push the hips back, slowly moving up the spine into extension. Rib cage drops, head lifts, and then we reverse it. Tuck the hips, sucking the abs in, pushing rib cage to ceiling, dropping the chin to chest. That's two. Pushing hips back, flaring rib cage, looking up. Last one, tucking hips, abs sucking in, pushing rib cage to ceiling, pushing through the hands, big stretch, and rest. Awesome. And we're gonna go spine car. So we did segmentation, now we're gonna get rotation involved. I like to do these standing wide. So I'm gonna stand wide, it's gonna help stabilize the hips. If you're having a lot of trouble with these, a seated version is really good as well, okay? Here we go. I'm gonna start by tucking the hips, pulling the rib cage down into flexion, and we're gonna rotate over to that left side, drop left shoulder, slowly push the butt back and flare the rib cage. So it feels like you're leaning over to that left side and arching the back. Gonna rotate over to right side, squeezing right side, tuck the hips, pull into flexion. That's one. Continuing on, we're gonna do three. Drop that left shoulder, push the hips back, flare the rib cage, rotate over to right side, drop that right shoulder, tuck the hips, squeeze the abs. Two, one more. Rotate to left side, drop the shoulder, push the hips back, flare the rib cage, rotate over to right side, drop that right shoulder, tuck the hips into flexion. That's three. Other side, squeezing to right side, dropping right shoulder, squeezing the right side of the abs, push the hips back, flare the rib cage, rotate to the left, tuck the hips, squeeze into flexion. It's one. Continuing on, starting to get a flow here, arching that back, rotating around. Notice how my pelvis isn't moving, just the spine is. Two, one more. Finishing through that extension, pull into flexion, and rest. Next up is the hip car, and we'll use our two poles for props or the wall. I'm gonna start by standing tall and engaging the core. I'm gonna bring the right knee up, which brings the hip into flexion, and then I'm gonna scoop the inside of the foot like I'm dribbling a soccer ball or hitting a hacky sack. I'm gonna pull up as high as I can, and then I'm gonna slowly start to open this leg out. Now you're gonna watch for when the pelvis wants to rotate. As I pull this leg out, I'm trying to keep the hip pointing forward. Once I feel like it's coupled and not moving independently, I'm gonna start rotating the leg. So I'm gonna lift the outside of the foot, drop the knee, and then I'm gonna slowly drop the leg to a point where I feel like I can control it. I'm not hiking the hip and I'm not rotating. Okay, so I'm here, I open out to the side, drop the inside of the knee, push the leg back and squeeze the knee in. So my foot is back, my knee is in, I push straight back, open out to the side like I'm a dog peeing on a fire hydrant. I drop the foot, sweep around, pull the knee high. Notice how the leg gets higher as it becomes cleaner flexion. So I'm not high way out here. I'm coming up like an escalator, and then I hit that peak and finish. That's one. Good. We have two more. We'll go a little faster this time. Sweep that foot, pull into flexion and external rotation. Open out to the side, start that internal rotation, drop the inside of the knee, lift the outside of the foot, push the leg back, and squeeze in. Pushing back, squeeze the butt. Feel the side butt here. Drop the foot, pull the knee high, finish in that flexion and external. That's two. One more. Open out, rotating the leg without leaning, pushing leg back, squeezing knee in, and reverse. Push out, lift to the side, drop the foot, and circle around. Awesome. And other leg. Now I'm on that left side. We know where we're headed, so we'll go a little quicker. Pull up flexion and external rotation, like we're hitting that hacky sack. Door hinge, open up. Internal rotation, lift the outside of the foot, push the leg back behind you, reach for the wall behind, squeeze the knee in. You're gonna feel the inside of thighs. Pushing back, out to the side, drop the foot, circle around through that flexion and external. That's 1. Lifting up, flexion and external. Door hinge open. Internal rotation. Drop the knee down, push the leg back. Squeeze the knee in. Pushing back behind us. Open out to the side. Drop the foot. Sweep the leg around. Flexion and external. That's 2. We have 1 more. Lifting high. Flexion and external. Open to the side. Internal rotation. Reaching that leg back. Squeezing knee in. The foot stays wide here. So I'm in that internal and extension. Pushing back. Lifting out to the side. And circle through. Beautiful. We've just got knee and ankle and we are done. So I'm gonna grab a seat for the last 2. I'm gonna be on the ground. I'm gonna work right knee first. I'm gonna take the heel, dig it into the ground. So I've got a little bit of tension on the posterior chain. Then I'm gonna flex the toe towards the shin. We're gonna do knee rotation. So external or a lateral rotation is out to the side. I'm gonna feel a tightness on the outside of the knee and activation through the outside of the shin. Keeping the toe flexed. I'm gonna pivot towards midline. That's 1. I'm gonna do about 5 of these ones. The knees, we'll do a couple more. 2, tension on the heel. 3, 4, and 5. Good. Rotating in that knee joint. Switching sides. I'm gonna take that left heel, dig it into the ground, flex the toe towards the shin. You're gonna feel that shin activate, heading into external. So we should have roughly like 30 to 40 degrees of external rotation and about 10 degrees of internal rotation. So if midline is here, 10 internal, about 30 to 40 external, and we're slowly rotating. I find that the tension in the heel and keeping the ankle flexed keeps the energy and focus in the knee. Perfect. And we're gonna finish with the ankle. So you can prop the foot up on a yoga block if you had it. I didn't ask you to bring one, so if you do have it, awesome. You can also use the other leg. So I'll just flex the foot, kind of put it in the crevasse of the ankle shin, and then lock the knee out. So when we're doing the ankle, it's really common to let the femur rotate. The more you squeeze the quad, the less the femur will rotate, and then we're just drawing a circle. So I like to think about if I'm mixing a bowl of brownie batter, I'm trying to get all the dry powder on the edges. We're gonna do 3 in each direction. So scraping big circles. That's 2. If we hear cracks and pops, totally fine as long as there's no pain. Otherwise, if it is closing ankle joint pain, then we will address it how we covered in the intro videos. So kind of working around it rather than pushing through. And reversing directions, we have 3, 1, 2, and 3. Awesome. And switching sides. So our last one, flex the foot, lock the knee out. Here we go. Moving to midline, pushing foot forward as far as I can forward, sweep across, squeeze the outside of the ankle, pull the toe towards the shin. That's 1. Continue. 2, 1 more this direction, 3, and reverse. Moving towards pinky edge side, pushing forward. 1, that is 2, and 3. Perfect, bingo. And that is a wrap on our C.A.R.s sequence. So it takes me roughly 8 to 10 minutes to get through my full C.A.R.s. So once you learn them and get the flow of them, you know where to go, you know how to do them, and they become quicker and more efficient. I'll see you next time. Ciao.